Search crews have recovered the body of a California man from deep inside the Grand Canyon. They got reports, and you can see right there, of a broken wall and car parts scattered in the area. This is east of the Yavapai Geology Museum. An aerial search was launched, leading to crews finding the damaged, almost destroyed car and the victim 1,000 feet below the rim. What led up to it is still being investigated.
New video showing the moments two private jets, including one owned by Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil, collided on a runway in Scottsdale.
The surveillance video shows the landing gear failing on Vince Neil's plane as it lands before crashing into a parked jet. You can see it there. One person was killed in the crash, 3 others hurt. TMZ is reporting that Vince Neil was not on the plane, but his girlfriend and her friend were. Fox 10's Kenzie Beach has been at Scottsdale Airport all day today working to learn more information. She joins us live with more tonight. Kenzie.
Yeah, John, Christina, we know it was a Learjet that crashed into a parked Gulfstream 200 here at Scottsdale Airport this afternoon. We now know it was the landing gear that failed on that Learjet as it was arriving here at Scottsdale Airport. That plane taking off from Austin, Texas, and then the crash happening here. The National Transportation Safety Board has now taken over this investigation. Surveillance video shows the moments the Learjet hit the runway. Its left landing gear failing, the jet skidding down the runway before crashing into the parked Gulfstream 200. The landing gear could be seen almost 100 yards away. Gordon Johnson has 35 years in aviation. He witnessed the whole thing.
Coming down with the left main gear collapsed, the nose gear partially collapsed, and watched it slide off the runway from center of the runway to the left. And we knew, based on the speed, that it's heading towards a building or something over here. Scottsdale
Fire says 5 people were on the 2 planes when the crash happened. 1 person died and 3 others are in the hospital. 1 person refusing treatment.
We're not going to go into specifics. We're going to turn this over to the National Transportation Safety Board of what patients were in what planes.
The Learjet is registered to Chrome and Hollywood Incorporated. The Tennessee-based company is owned by Motley band crew member Vince Neil. Tonight, TMZ is reporting that Neil was not on the plane, but his girlfriend and her friend were. And now they're in the hospital with injuries.
Our thoughts and prayers for the individuals on the aircraft. It's certainly a tragedy that occurred. The fire department, the police department, airport operations did a fantastic job responding to the incident immediately, foaming down the aircraft to prevent additional fire.
Now, Motley Crue posting this message on social media just a short time ago, stating again that Vince was not on this plane, but part of that statement saying his girlfriend and her friend were. They said that they're praying for the live loss of that pilot and the other passengers that suffered injuries. Motley Crue plans to announce ways that people can support the family of this deceased pilot, so stay tuned for that information. But I will say here tonight, in the last couple hours, we have seen them separate the 2 planes. Those are behind me. We're not going to zoom in at the moment as fire crews are up in that front cabin right now. We can assume they're working on extracting that body from the plane, but still strong smells of jet fuel out here tonight. And earlier today, when the sun was still up about 100 yards to my left and to the left of where these jets are right now, you can still see that landing gear on the ground, but the National Transportation Safety Board has taken over. Reporting live in Scottsdale, Kenzie Beach, Fox 10 News.
Kenzie, thanks.
And in the meantime, another man who attended the WM Open also arrested on charges including criminal trespassing. He was caught in a nearby canal, needed a rescue mission to help get him out. Police say that guy right there, Christian Misa, jumped into the water near Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard and Greenway Hayden Loop. 5 officers went in to remove the 27-year-old. One of the rescuers suffered an ankle injury. As a result, another injured his arm. One person is dead after a car crashed into a transformer pole, caught fire overnight. This happened in Chandler near McQueen and Knox just after 9 o'clock in the evening. Police say the driver, 27-year-old David Ramirez Velasco, died at the scene. Crash also knocked out power to 7,000 customers. It has since been restored. Police are investigating what caused that crash. They're going to start with the Valley football coach who has been arrested. Surprise police taking Richard Gottsel into custody. It happened yesterday. He is the head football coach at Dobson High School in Mesa. Right now, police are not providing many details on the basis of his arrest, but Mesa Public Schools telling Fox 10 it does not involve students in the district. Gottsel was hired by the district back in 2019, and he is now on administrative leave.
A new update from a shooting that injured 3 people. Tempe police say 37-year-old Aaron Sussex fired shots in Mitchell Park near University Drive and McKinney Street. Pictures here show his past mug shots. Investigators say it was a targeted attack against one specific person. One man is in critical condition, while another is in stable condition. One other victim was grazed, but was not taken to the hospital.
Tonight, Fox 10 investigates the sober living scandal and its impact on homelessness after Arizona's Medicaid agency cracked down on fraudulent behavioral health facilities, leaving clients with nowhere to live.
Critics say suspending the licenses of hundreds of providers was an overcorrection after Arizona lost more than $2 billion due to fraud. Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum reports on this ongoing fallout.
Riva Stewart patrols the edge of Cesar Chavez Park in Laveen. On the hillside are those experiencing homelessness. Riva leads her team, Stolen People, Stolen Benefits, trying to help these folks get through winter with jackets, snacks, and resources to legitimate rehabs because some of them have been displaced by sober living homes no longer operating. The state's Medicaid agency, known as Access, implemented a moratorium on the enrollment of new providers in May 2023, which included behavioral health outpatient clinics and behavioral health residential facilities. It cut off new providers while the state cracked down on the bad actors. The moratorium was lifted in December of last year. Stewart says vulnerable people battling alcohol and drug addiction are being recruited once again.
They're blatantly doing recruiting now. A lot of the homes that got shut down or the IOPs that shut down are now opening up again under BHRFs.
Now new providers must pass heightened screenings by Access if high risk is identified. Officials say changes to policies will prevent bad actors from fraudulently billing the state for services never rendered.
The majority of the treatment homes right now are not really helping us.
Chelsea's time in and out of homes has been inconsistent.
And I'm not going to lie, I've been to over 15 treatments and they're all different. They're not all the same.
Suspended providers went from hundreds in 2023 to just 18 in 2024. But allegations of fraud have become more revealing in suspension letters. For example, paying members in the form of free housing, food and gym memberships, billing for members who are incarcerated or dead, or someone who is receiving services elsewhere.
I know 51st is picking up again.
The team heads to 51st Avenue and Baseline to help many others.
So at 51st Avenue and Baseline, a hot spot in a busy intersection where there are 4 corners, 4 bus stops where drug activity is something that happens a lot on a consistent basis. So the team's here to help those in need and who have been displaced by sober living homes that have been shut down.
We meet this man who once lived at Canal on Baseline in Mesa, where in 2023, police said the condo complex contained numerous sober living organizations housing numerous clients, generating constant calls for service.
Some house manager would even tell you, hey, come in and we'll give you $100 today.
They provide alcohol and drugs?
They would, yeah.
Police reports documented alcohol abuse and assaults. Eviction filings also obtained by Fox 10 revealed tenants leasing the unit agreed to pay group home or sober home surcharges on top of monthly rent.
They did pack as many people in as possible. Some of them did clinics, some of them didn't go.
And he says it was common to be shuffled from unit to unit as long as you were on the American Indian Health Plan.
They offered to help us, but they actually don't help us. That's lining their pockets.
And to confirm, you're not Native American?
Correct, I am not.
According to the 2024 2024 annual homelessness assessment report released by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Arizona saw a 3.5% increase in its homeless population compared to 2023. Out of nearly 15,000 people experiencing homelessness, around half were unsheltered. Desba Reed is staying in a sober living home right now to avoid the streets.
And I want to move out into an apartment, but I know that I haven't worked in several years. I deal with being bipolar and then having my addictions at the same time, so it's kind of hard for me to just get stable. I feel like I'm finally getting it now. I feel like I'm doing a lot better and I just want to go forward, but I feel like as far as the economy goes, there's nowhere for me to live.
Has the Access scandal's fallout contributed to homelessness? We shall see. Maricopa County's annual point-in-time homelessness count just wrapped up in January, learning more about the people behind the crisis and what factored into their current situations. People we spoke with say the sober living scheme is not over.
Deplorable. It's awful. It's the people taking advantage of other people. It's not right.
It's just a revolving door at this point.
I'm Justin Lum for Fox 10 Investigates.
For all of our coverage on the Medicaid scandal, you can head to fox10phoenix.com/soberliving.
Scientists across the world focusing on an asteroid years away.
It has a very slim chance of hitting Earth, and researchers are making sure it stays like that.
It's actually not that slim. It's bigger than you think.
There's a chance.
There's a chance. Steve Nielsen spent the day in Flagstaff, where some of the most important data is being gathered.
This is cool. Lowell Observatory is one of only 3 or 4 telescopes in the world right now monitoring this asteroid's path to keep us safe. A glimpse of an asteroid on a black and white telescope observation. That's asteroid 2024 YR4, and there's a very small chance it could hit Earth.
2.1% right now. Our hope is that as we continue to monitor the object, we'll see that the trajectory in 2032 moves off of the Earth and the impact probability will go to 0.
Nick Moskovitz with Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff says they're monitoring the asteroid at this critical time to determine the trajectory.
Right now we're sort of in this transition where the telescopes like the Lowell Discovery Telescope, which is a 4-meter telescope, 16, 17 feet across, those are the only telescopes in the world that can see it.
A lot is still unknown, but NASA believes it's about the size of a football field. That's about the same size asteroid that caused Meteor Crater in Arizona.
Not going to cause mass extinction events. It's not, the end of the dinosaurs-like impact, but it would have significant regional consequences.
Now remember, there's a 98% chance it doesn't hit us, but if the odds fail us, the good news?
Oh, wow. Awaiting visual confirmation.
We have experience with this. In 2022, Moskovitz and researchers from U of A and NAU were integral to the DART mission, which threw a satellite hard into an even larger asteroid called Dimorphos and was able to change its trajectory. Space missions take years of planning, but Moskovitz believes that can be streamlined for planetary defense.
We could simply copy DART. We've done that before, down to the last screw, right? This would not take 10 years to do.
Lowell will keep at it. April is the date to keep in mind. At that point, we should have a lot more information on this asteroid and whether or not we need to start getting prepared. Steve Nielsen, Fox 10 News.
Eloy man recovering after he was bitten by a rattlesnake at his home last week.
The man had to spend 2 days in intensive care after the attack. We spoke with him today about the incident. Fox 10's Mark Martinez joins us now with more.
Yeah, you guys, officials say that this is the first rattlesnake bite of the year in Arizona, and the man tells us he thought he was being careful when this all happened. It was on January 31st. Tommy Nieberdowski was turning on a water valve in his backyard when he was bitten. And he says he first was checking for black widow spiders and rattlesnakes. That's a routine thing he always does when he gets home from work. But he didn't hear or see anything, and he thought it was safe. But that snake was hiding, and it bit his left hand. Nieberdowski went to Banner Health in Casa Grande, where he was given a dose of antivenom. But then he was flown to Banner in Central Phoenix, where he stayed in the intensive care unit for 2 days.
It was bizarre. It felt like I had acid shot into my hand, and I could feel the poison running up my arm. So I was home alone. There was nobody to take me to the hospital, and we're way out in a rural area. So I know that an ambulance ride would have taken more than an hour. So I chose to put a tourniquet on it to stop the poison so I could drive myself to Banner.
And he tells us that his hand has fully recovered. Officials at Banner Health say that it's really uncommon to see rattlesnake bites in January or February, but that people should always be aware of snakes as the weather starts to warm up. And the warmer weather is also reportedly causing scorpions to be out and about right now. Now, if you do see a rattlesnake, it probably goes without saying, but don't remove it. Call a professional. And if you are bitten, call 911. 25% of rattlesnake bites are considered non-venomous, but health officials say all bites need to be evaluated by a medical professional. In studio, Mark Martinez, Fox 10 News.
A Phoenix woman will spend the rest of her life in prison for killing her 3 children. Rachel Henry pleaded guilty to 3 counts of premeditated first-degree murder last December.
A judge decided her fate today in court. Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum joins us live tonight with the details. Justin.
John, Christina, 27-year-old Rachel Henry moves from a Maricopa County jail to the Perryville prison. She was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences. She did not speak to the court just months after taking a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. It took less than 30 minutes to seal Rachel Henry's fate in her sentencing. Back in January 2020, she already admitted to Phoenix police that she suffocated each of her 3 children one by one.
No, 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 no.
Initially, body camera video shows she lied.
Just put a number in half and then we let them do sleeping.
The details are heartbreaking. Henry suffocated her 1-year-old daughter, Mariah, while her 3-year-old son, Zane, tried to stop her. Later, she sang Zane a lullaby before smothering him. Finally, she gave 7-month-old Catalea a bottle until she fell asleep before suffocating her too. Henry placed all 3 kids on a couch to appear as if they were sleeping. The prosecution recalled how first responders to the scene are still traumatized.
Some of the personnel, the first responders, are still in therapy. And have been affected by what happened, even though this was 5 years ago.
I heard this one screaming. Hey, are you okay? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm gonna have someone else stand at the door. I'll come talk to you in a minute. No, I'm good.
The defendant is obviously going to prison for the rest of her life because she did the unthinkable in this case, Judge. She had a duty to protect her children from anyone or anything who would try to harm them. But unfortunately, in this case, she was that thing.
We may never know why Henry did what she did. Fox 10 previously reported on a series of domestic disputes and welfare checks for Henry's children when the family lived in Oklahoma in 2016. Henry admitted to having a meth addiction and that her kids had previously been removed from her home. Issues that continued while living in the valley.
There was strong evidence of postpartum depression, mood disorder, dissociation, severe depression, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, and that can explain some of Rachel's mental state at the time.
Judge Fish still decided on 3 consecutive life sentences.
The court also finds that each victim deserves to be recognized as an individual victim, and consecutive counts are therefore warranted to consider the impact, obviously, on each victim from Ms. Henry's actions.
Henry hugged her lawyers moments before starting life behind bars.
Okay.
Following the sentencing, Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell released a statement saying, quote, "I've dedicated my career to protecting children, and it's hard to comprehend how any parent could take the life of their own. Thank you to the prosecution team for ensuring justice was served for these 3 innocent children."